Hey friends, how are you doing this afternoon? Hopefully you survived the storms and things are okay where you are. If they're not, hopefully you're able to be getting with other folks to get help or get help to people who need help in your area. But we got to talk to a bigger storm that's going across the entire United States. And it's not a weather storm, it's not rain, it's not tornadoes, it's not blizzards, it's not falling out of the air, friends. It's coming from the people around us. As we're seeing increased hostility, the protests, as things are warming up, the protests are starting to come out of the woodwork. And like the BLM protests before, we're not seeing entirely peaceful protests either, are we? We're seeing slightly fiery, peaceful protests. We're seeing attacks on Tesla vehicles. We're seeing attacks on people that they deem to be, well, the NZ word, right? And this is where we're headed. This is where we're headed. I'm just looking at the thumbnail on this video is the picture of a bunch of these protesters out there with their signs, calling anyone who disagrees with them the NZ word and all sorts of awful things. Now, a lot of you probably like me going, I'm glad I don't have a Tesla. Never really had $70,000+ sitting around to buy a spare car that will work sometimes up here in Pennsylvania. But, I never really felt the need to save the planet by spending money. Hey, if you're one of those people with a Tesla, you're probably a little bit concerned about these people targeting your homes and targeting your vehicle. But we can see that is an attitude that's not directed at a certain type of vehicle, but they're trying to go after a person. They're trying to go after any people who associate with that person, which is a little ironic because most of the people that associate with that person in that way by trying to save the planet are their own people, which is making things a little bit amusing, at least for now. But it's not going to be amusing when they start coming after our people. When they start fixing their sights on people who disagree with them, who think that maybe people who aren't here legally should leave. People who think crazy thoughts about how women should be in women's sports and men should be in men's sports. And never the twain shall meet. But this is going far beyond anything that we've seen in generations here in the United States. The level of violence, the changes that have happened at the highest levels of government have been, in the last almost 2 months now, have actually been quite astonishing. Very good results. We heard them complaining about, well, look at the egg prices. Well, the egg prices have been coming down for the past, 4 weeks now? It took them a couple weeks to get that turnaround and egg prices dropping. Inflation costs on a lot of things already starting to drop. We're seeing massive cuts to the federal government, and the deficit is starting to get reined in for the first time in a lot of our lifetime. You look at peace happening, peace talks, possibly having peace in Eastern Europe. That's good news, isn't it? For the most part, we're seeing that President Trump is either doing better than, or at least not any worse than the previous president. I mean, I know a lot of us aren't super excited to see the United States bombing Yemen because, we can get the map out and go, here's us on this hemisphere, and there's Yemen on that hemisphere. Why are we over there? But previous president also bombed Yemen. So, I mean, it's kind of like apparently a presidential tradition that goes back at least 3 decades of every president bombing Yemen. So he's not doing worse than previous presidents. And I think that anyone who has any sort of objectivity can see that President Trump seems to be doing a good job. Let me know what you guys think. Is he doing an okay job? Is he doing a good job? Is he doing a bad job? Let me know down in the comments down below. There's people in the United States who think he's doing an absolutely horrific job. That he is worse than Hitler. Which I think most of us just look at that and go like, that's so illogical. Where are you even getting that from? People of color are not being discriminated against in our country. There's no ethnic minority that's being attacked or something like that. No mass genocide in our country. So how do you come up with this idea that he's worse than Hitler? And yet these people who thought that before the election, now that they've seen 2 months of President Trump, him making things better, the more he makes things better, the more infuriated they seem to be becoming. The more irrational they are becoming. The more violent they are becoming. As they realize that, at least subconsciously, they realize that they have no good reason to be mad. No good reason at all. Federal workers are being fired. Where were these people for the past, 50, 70 years as people at regular jobs got fired? They weren't upset about that, but now they're upset about federal workers getting fired and downsized. Like, us normal people can get fired and downsized, and that's okay, but not federal workers. They can't be downsized. They're special people. They're special protected class. Like, they're acting like federal employees getting downsized is like the worst thing to happen since the dropping of the nukes on Japan. Like, that's what they want us to believe. Like, this is the worst thing that has happened. And those of us who live in the real world are going, no, there's been plenty of worse things that have happened. You know, plenty of worse things that have happened. And while I'm not happy that people are losing their jobs, there are good people who are going to have to look for a new job. May even have to change careers, and it's going to put strain on their families, and it's going to be a difficult time, a transition for them and their families, and that's not something I celebrate. I celebrate that we finally are doing something about the massive federal deficit, the fact that we're spending way more than we ever are bringing in, because sooner or later, they're going to have to tax us for that. And they're taxing us with this inflation right now, as well as income taxes. A lot of us kind of ask the question, well, if the government can print money, then why do they have to have income taxes as well? And that's a legitimate question that I want to ask about this time every year as we're in tax season. But anyway, what my point is that these people are rabid. They are extremely angry and violent. That's why they're attacking inanimate objects. They're firebombing cars now. And they're advocating for other people to do that. They're keying cars. They're attacking anything that looks like a Tesla. There's a lady out there who went out there and started stabbing the tires of a vehicle, an electric vehicle. Too bad it turned out to be a Rivian. So it wasn't even a Tesla. It was like another electric vehicle. Oops. We're not dealing with the sharpest tools in the shed, but these people have this moral superiority that they are right, and everyone who disagrees with them are the worst dregs of humanity. And they want to turn that rage onto us. And they're coming for us. And this summer, they've already said, as it warms up, they got a series of protests that they're going to be doing in cities. They're going to be out there in force, and they're going to start attacking people's vehicles. They're going to start attacking with them in it. Remember when we saw those impossible situations in the cities where people with boomsticks were coming up to people's cars who were surrounded by protesters. I don't know if they're really called protesters when they have boomsticks, but when someone starts pointing them at you and you're trapped in a crowd of angry people beating on your car, threatening to break your windows, maybe to haul you out of your car and beat you down out in the street. I mean, at this point, what do you do? Do you give it back to them? Give it to them before they get to you? Do you plow through the crowd? Any of those options, and you're going to be in jail for a very long time because you're probably in an urban city and the jurisdiction is not going to be friendly to you. Or do you just kind of let these people do to you whatever they want to do and hope for the best? Because that's not a very good option either. Are these type of conundrums coming back to us? And the answer is probably. Probably. They want to bring these same type of situations back to us. They want to hide behind their local police forces, their local jurisdictions where they are protected in their courts, where they know that they can get a prosecution against anyone who does not bend the knee to the same ideologies and wrong thing. So let me know what you guys think. They're threatening to do mass protests this summer, this spring. They've been complaining about how cold it is and how it's just too hard to get out there when it's cold. Do you think that this is going to be a big deal? Is it going to be a big nothing burger, or are they just all going to stay home and not really do anything? Or are they just going to have a few protesters out there? Or is this going to be a major wave? I don't know that I really fully agree with the poll numbers out there. But what if 40% is in that camp? 40% believes that that Trump and his supporters are of the devil, and that they have a moral imperative to overthrow the government or something. What happens is only 30%. What percentage of these people will it take to really cause serious problems in the United States? Because I think that they're starting to get the clue that they're not going to get back into the halls of power in government again the way things are headed. The Democratic Party doesn't have much of a chance of winning these midterms, probably. They're probably not going to win back the House. They're probably not going to win back the Senate. Not with the way things are going right now. So what alternative means are they going to try to use? Are they going to go after voters like you and I and try to scare us so badly that we don't vote? Are they going to come after us and try to silence us? I don't know. I'll throw that out there to the Watchmen community. Let me know what you guys think. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. If you want to check out my newest video over on my Practical Poplar Prepper site, there is right there on the screen. Just tap on there, head on over there. I'm going to start posting more practical content, more prepper content. This is a review of a solar generator that is a great deal right now. It's the best deal I've seen in years. So if you're looking to get into solar power, that is something you might want to check out. Or if you just want to go check out the channel, that video as well as other videos on the channel. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.